Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you are tuning in. My name is Rachael Goldsworthy, and I'm on a journey to improve my life by 2 millimeters each and every week, and I want to do that with you. How are you? How is everybody? What have you been up to? Did you have a good weekend, even though it wasn't a long one this weekend? I mean, the weekend that we had before was pretty good with the long weekend, but this week is a little bit different. You can hear the music in the background. That's the 7.83 megahertz Schumann's resonance. And yeah, it's like the Earth's heartbeat. It's interesting, isn't it? I don't know whether you felt a little bit tired, a bit more energized, a little bit different than you were last week or the week before or the week to be. But maybe that was why. So the Schumann resonance. Little bit of an update. Well, pop in the comments below what you did on the weekend and what you got up to. That'd be really nice to hear. The UN, they met. That was good. And I've got an update on Pidgey for you this week. Jane Fonda, she was in Melbourne and also Sydney. Bit of an update on that. And air conditioning, what to do in winter time, and how to buy back your time. That's really what this is all about, isn't it? This life, to get the most out of it, whatever it is for you. And I think too, with what we all do in life, it's important to do what you want to do in the time that you have allotted. So today, let's get started with this. My cooking for this week. What did I cook this week? Oh, I'll show you. Oh, I don't know whether you can see in the distance. I'll show you that in a second. Potatoes. I used some potatoes, and I also used, oops, it's going to drop off the side of the desk, a mandolin. Anybody got one of those? Doesn't matter if you don't. Hey, Lek, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. But basically what I did is I made a bit of comfort food for the winter. So I used one of these muffin tins, and I basically mandolined the potato on the mandolin. It's like saying what day's Friday? Friday. So yeah, so basically that's the really sharp part there, and just sort of with this little bad boy, you can pop that into the potato. I sound as though I don't know what I'm doing, which is exactly correct. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to cooking, but I'm having a bit of fun each week doing the journey of it. But mandolining each one of those pieces of potato, popping them in the muffin tray, and then in between, oh, Brucey wants to come up and say hello to everybody. Yeah, so this is Bruce, for those of you who don't know. And yeah, popping that in the tray with a little bit of cheese and a little bit of parmesan in between each one. You could pop anything in there that you wanted to, really. And it was delicious. Pop it in the oven for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long. If you want it crispier, leave it in there a little bit longer. And it was really yummy. The other thing that I made, inspired by Ashley, big shout out to you, Ashley. Thank you. It's the Maltese Mama's version of potato and sweet potato bake. Oh, you got to get comfortable. You all right? He's not too sure what he's doing, but he just wants to sit down and enjoy. He's listening to the Schumann's resonance, I think, and just relaxing and taking the night easy, aren't you? You're going to have some snacks later on. Hey? We're going to do some cooking later on too? Oh, we are we? Okay. All right, we can do that. Yeah, so... so potato bake, which was inspired by Ashley and her family, as I say, and that was really simple. I basically just mandolined again the potatoes and the sweet potato and just popped that on a tray and just layered it. So potato, sweet potato, a little bit of thickened cream, and then another potato, a layer of potato, sweet potato, a bit of cheese, and then the thickened cream, and one more layer of potato, sweet potato, and thickened cream again. Sounds like it's over the top, but it was so easy. Pop that in the oven for an hour and a half, I think it was, and topped with a little bit of cheese, bit of Parmesan cheese, and I also put some spices, herbs and spices. You can put whatever you wanted to put within that, actually. I chose to use a little bit of a chili base to it, and it was just delicious, really, really yummy. And I paired that with a barbecue, so I had some lamb steaks and some other bits and pieces on the barbecue that I cooked, and it was delicious. So that was a really easy meal, put together in about 10 or 15 minutes, and in the oven was the most time. So you had to make sure that you timed it well for when you've got your guests arriving for dinner, or whether you've got your friends, or whether you've got your puppy dogs arriving for dinner, hey? Brucey did have a little bit of the bake, didn't you? And he thought it was quite nice. He had some for breakfast this morning. We popped some with the kibble. And, oh, you want to cuddle, do you? Okay, all right. So he wants a little bit of a cuddle. He just, it's winter. You know what it's like when it's winter. And he's so cute, isn't he? I'm a little bit biased, I must say. Hey, Sonica, how are you? Nice to see you on the line. Hey, Mum, how are you? Nice to see you on the line. Brucey says hi to your grandma. And he wants a few cuddles from Grandma too, don't you? Yeah, so this week, other than my baking sensations that I'm giving a go at the best of times, the UN, they met in this month, which is great. As I said, I'm not a political person by nature, but just watching that Oceans movie with Sir David Attenborough, on the way in which they were fishing, the fishermen, the 400,000 trawlers were fishing the bottom of the ocean and basically wrecking all of the reefs and other things. I mean, I'm sure there's some fishing done sustainably, but equally, it was just really sad to see big chains and big front-end loader style of fishing on the bottom of the ocean. And anyway, the UN were meeting this month, and they had a summit that, good news, as a result of meeting, they've got 170 countries that have agreed to sign off on a policy that says our ocean, our future, and entered that for urgent action. So not too sure what that actually means as to whether there's going to be anything done or whether it's all talk. But somebody else may know more about it than me, and feel free to pop it in the comments below because we'd love to hear about that. Brucey, you want more of a cuddle. Okay, he's really leaning into this cuddle tonight. And sort of basically saying the ocean, with the years that he'd been on the earth, I think he's closer to 100 than he is not. And he was basically saying by saving the ocean, we're going to be saving ourselves. And equally that after the 100 years or nearly the 100 years on the planet, that he's realised that and understands how important the ocean is, and that sometimes it's not the most important place on land, but also more so on sea. So that was an interesting perspective that he had. You want to say hello to everyone, Bruce? No, you can really see him because the light's a bit dark, but he's cuddling in tonight. I don't know why. He loves his cuddles. He's a big sookie la, and he is. How is everybody out there? How are you all doing? Did you have a good week? I hope you did. But yeah, Jane Fonda was another one. There was conversations with Miss Fonda, and she was doing or sharing remarkable stories on basically from Hollywood. I mean, she's an actress, she's an activist, she's known as Hanoi Jane. She's also known for some controversy with her. I'm just going to pop you down for a little bit, buddy. But she also inspired many people at the speeches for both Sydney and Melbourne. So it was really nice to hear her and learning about her passion projects, including self-care and activism and just the power of wellness at every stage of your life. Because I think when you're in your 20s, you think you're invincible and you might have a Mars bar and Coke for, lunch or breakfast or whatever it is, or a hamburger after a big night out, and you think you're going to last forever and, nothing much else happens. And you can just sort of go with 4 hours sleep and, but I think as you age, you realise how important this vessel is that we're given, and how important it is to maintain that vessel, and through our wealth, and our wealth is actually our health. So she was talking about a holistic approach to health and balancing the mind, the body, and your purpose as well. She had some really nice projects that she was working on, and she said as she's gotten older, she's come to see that aging is a gift, and it's time to embrace life fully and share the knowledge, which is really important, which she was doing on her tour. And she also wanted to laugh a little bit more, which was a good thing. She hopes that she can redefine what it means to thrive at every stage of your life. So that's really important too, because each stage of our life, I mean, my mum always talks about it, each 10 years that you feel different within your body, within yourself, within your focus. And I think that if you can be really present in where you're at and what you're doing and where you want to be in life, and just know each 10 years what you're doing and maybe what that intention is for the following 10 years. Jane was also asked what would she tell her younger self if she was asked a question. She'd say, honey, it's going to get better. And she also said, no. No is a complete sentence, and it's okay to say no to things, people, or places. So, and I think that's really true too, because each 10 years that you age throughout your life, when you're younger, you're more willing to spend time on projects and do things and invest enthusiasm to whatever it may be. And then as you get older, your group of friends change and your group of colleagues change, and your puppy dogs may change as well, but you certainly sort of know what's important in life as you age, and health is certainly one of those things for you. Hey, Tina, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. Hi, Anita, nice to meet you. And Ange, how are you? Good to have you on the line too. So, yeah, the values may not be aligned. So if you're with people and their values aren't aligned to your values, it's so important to honour that and to lean into that, because sometimes we want to be out with people, we want to be out with friends, we want to be out with family, but if your values don't align with the values of those people, well, sometimes you have to ask yourself the question as to whether you're spending your time in the highest and best possible use for you. So maybe think about that too. I mean, Miss Fonda talked about that, and she also said that, literally she strode onto the stage with a suit, and she was rocking heels and beautiful suit, hair immaculate and everything, and as you would expect from somebody like that. And Liz Hayes interviewed her, and she had a few things to impart, but she said to move from a place of love and empathy. And I think in life, love and empathy are really important, because it doesn't matter whether you have much in life or whether you don't. If you have that love and people around you that have an understanding of where you're at, and they meet you where you're at, or you try and help them meet them where they want to be, life's a good thing. And she said that empathy's not a weakness, and that she said, empathy is not weak or woke. She said, and by the way, woke just means that you give a damn about other people. So there you go. And she said when she was younger, I thought that it was just a spirit, and that, she was pacing herself throughout her life. And I think that that's true. Empathy, it's not weak. It's just you actually do care about people. You do care about the outcomes, and you do care about whether it's the world or life in general, or the family that you share your time with, or the family that you make your family, or the friends, the colleagues, the people that you work with you. Hey, Paulie, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. I haven't seen you for a while. What have you been up to? You still work, and enjoying that beautiful home that you have on the hill? I love that home. We get to visit it often and get to catch up with you and your family. It's great to see. So the UN meeting, I was really excited about that, in that there might be change, there might be sustainable fishing made available to the trawlers of the world, and people just see from a different perspective where and what's important. And, you know, to eat a few scallops, I could give away that every day of the week if the ocean was going to be looked after a little bit more and with a little bit more care. And they're also talking about protecting a portion of the world's oceans as well. So I think I mentioned before that I thought that the world's oceans were protected a lot more, but only less than 3% of the percentage of oceans are protected. So if that gives you an idea of the size of the oceans that's out there in the wild, and you know, if we don't do something about it, maybe me talking about it won't help, but maybe it might just inspire one person to do something extra and push the needle a little bit more. It's inspired me to do a few things about it as well. And you know, just let me know what you think of that, and where you're going and what you're doing. And even if you just sit quietly with it and have a few thoughts and talk to a few friends, and the more people that know about it, I think it's a good thing. Pidgey, the update on the Pidgey suite. For those of you who remember, I had a bird that arrived on my veranda one night, all cold and bedraggled and looking for a home. So this is the home that provides homes for all of the animals that haven't got a family, or that, you know, are feeling lost, like kicked out of the nest or what have you. And yeah, this little bird, he turned into not only one bird, but his whole family comes to me now for a little bit of food. So Pidgey survived. He's been, 3 or 4 weeks into it now. So I'm really excited to say that he came out at the other side, and now he's got two, like a little bird that he nests with. So the two of them are sitting on the veranda of a night time. And what I had to do is, because I was really worried about the cats getting them of a night time, and because they're familiar with me, I made sure that I put them back out during the day and that there wasn't any risk of them getting eaten of a night time. Now, you can't completely remove the risk of them getting taken, but just the same, because they are vulnerable, but they're able to fly. I think their first flight day was in the last 24 hours. So on the weekend, I saw them take off, and that was really cool. But what I had to do is just increase the size of their where they roost for the night. So they're pretty much on a photocopier box that I'd created or taken from the office, that had photocopier paper in it, which we took out obviously, and then I put a little towel on the top of that, and then they hopped into the towel and into the photocopier box of a night time. But then I brought them in of a night time because it was too cold, and I didn't want them to, you know, get eaten by any of the local cats or the feral cats. And then so what I've done now, so that they're outside all the time, is that I've increased the size of the roost. So basically I've turned the photocopier box on its end, and then also put another box. So they're about 1.5 meters off the ground. So they still get their warmth of a night time from the towel and the photocopier box, but they are certainly taking care of themselves and each other by sitting on the roost together, and they survived. So it's even more exciting, isn't it? Paulie's saying, hey, Rach, just working on and enjoying our gorgeous home. Absolutely, it is a gorgeous home. I hope you're well, lovely, and absolutely I am well, and I really appreciate that, Paulie, and you and your beautiful family. Big shout out to you. Hey, Jax, how are you? Believe you're enjoying a big birthday number this week. It's going to be a big 50 for you, a big happy birthday and an early happy birthday to you. And I hope you get to celebrate with your family and friends this week. 50 should be very much celebrated, and as does every birthday. We've got quite a few birthdays coming up this week, and I want each and every one of you to feel special, and each and every one of you to enjoy your birthday celebrations, whether it's a cake with your colleagues, or whether it's a dinner with your family, or whether it's a catch-up with your friends. I wish you all a happy birthday, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead. So we've covered off on the UN meeting, Pidgey, Jane Fonda, cleaning. Oh, yes, air conditioners. I was talking to my dad today, and with the human resonance, I was just feeling a little bit tired over the weekend, maybe on the Sunday. So I had a bit of a pajama day on Sunday, took it easy, and I'm allowed to do that. I'm of the age that I can do that. And it was really good. I just relaxed and took it easy. But then the air conditioning seemed to be blowing more cold air than it was hot air. I don't know about you, but I just like to be warm. If I've got an air conditioning going or a gas heater going, or I've got an open fireplace going on, I'll make sure it's working to its optimum, whatever that would be. And Dad's an engineer of 50 odd years, and very well versed in air conditioning. He's had his own company with Mum over the years with the air conditioning, and I rang him and I just was talking about something else, and I said, the air conditioner seems to be blowing cold air. And he said, have you checked the filters, Rachael? I was like, no, I haven't actually. I didn't check the filters. And being a daughter of a dad who has had an air conditioning company, it should have been the first thing that I checked, but I didn't really think about that. So anyway, I got my ladder out, and you can open the air conditioning, whether it's the filters from the ducted air conditioning. It might be a square that you have or a rectangle that you have, which is a filter. Sometimes there's a screw that you have to undo, and it just sort of drops down, and you can slip out the filter and then vacuum that. Or alternatively, it might be like a split system, and that's usually on the wall, and then the front of it will come up, and sometimes the filter will come out from there, and it's sort of like a square. It might be two rectangular type of filters, which is a thin filter. It's probably 1 or 2 millimeters thick, and basically you just have to vacuum that. Some of them, if you're not doing it regularly enough, it will get dirty, and you have to sort of wash it with warm water and soap, sort of some sort of maybe like a wool mix or something like that. But mine's relatively new over the last couple of years, so I just sort of clean the filters every now and then. So, got the vacuum out, cleaned it all, and it blows cold air because either A, it's not getting the air through that filter, and you've got sort of dust on that filter, so it just sort of blows that cold air versus the conditioned air, because that's why it's called an air conditioner. Or the other thing with the filters with the ducted air conditioning, same thing, just vacuum that and it'll work really well. But, you just got to make sure that air is conditioned. And a big shout out to Dad. Thank you for your tips as always. You always ring your mum or your dad, don't you, for, go-to tips, or maybe a friend. You might phone a friend or, work colleague, what to do, how to make potato and sweet potato bake. Big shout out to you, Ashley. Thank you for the tips on that as well. All right. We're moving to, whether I've got the book or not that I can show you. Anyway, yes, here it is. Oh, this is what I'm making for dinner tonight too. There's, what do you call it, the Chinese steamers? And I pre-cut some veggies, so that's my broccoli and some cauliflower and some carrots. I don't much care for fancy-looking carrots. I just sort of chop them up. I don't even peel them, actually. And I'll pop that in the steamer for 10 minutes, and that'll do a really nice job of that. And then a little bit of meat, 100 grams of meat or something like that. And if I cook 2 lots of meat, I'm lucky enough to have it for the next day, so I'll have a couple of those. Buy Back Your Time. I don't know whether you can see this book or not. I think I've featured this once before. Really enjoyed this book because it talks about getting unstuck and reclaim your freedom, build your empire. So I don't know about building my empire, but certainly reclaiming my freedom is one of the things that's been really important to me over the last 12 months. And I think that with things in life, what we do is we're just so busy, work all the time. And before you know it, the week's gone and you're tired and you're busy and, you feel as though there's not much time left for yourself, let alone your family or your friends. And then you start Monday again. You might have a day off on Sunday, and then it's just like Groundhog Day again. And I don't know about you, but as you get older, you want to get more time with the things that you like doing versus work. And I'm really lucky I'm in a job that hasn't been like work for me. I love real estate. I love helping people buy houses or find houses or, get their first home or, work out how to put an offer forward on a house or how to organise strata or, if strata was in the red, get them back in the black, those sorts of things. So I've been really lucky to have a great job that I don't call a job, I call it a lifestyle, because you get to work with great people like yourselves. But sometimes there's things in any job that we do that does take our energy a little bit. Or, sometimes I remember working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, or what felt like 24 hours a day. And sometimes you have to do work that you don't necessarily want to be doing. So I think in those sort of times, you've really got to work out what's important, how to structure it, and how to try and buy back your time as such. And reading this book, Buy Back Your Time, it just reiterated that for me. Big shout out to you, Amanda Farmer, Strata Lawyer. Thank you for sending me a copy of this. It's a message to me in the book. So it was really nice to get that book. But basically the book talks about how to do an audit. Basically check yourself as to where you're at in life, what you're doing and what's important to you. Because if you don't know what you're doing each and every day, you're really not going to know how to, whether you're getting through what you need to do in each day, or whether you need to change something, or whether in fact you actually want to change anything at all. So they talk about do an audit and just check in on how you're spending your time each day. It might be a piece of paper. It might be as simple as a piece of paper that you bring out and you work out, okay, I spend a lot of time in the office and I want to change that. Or I spend time taking the dogs for a walk. I'm happy about that. I'll keep that. I like, getting up and having a cold shower. It wakes me up and wakes all the cells of my body up and makes me feel really good and gives me a bit of a dopamine hit. I like that. I'll keep that one. Or, you might drink coffee or tea and that's your favourite part of the day because you might read a couple of pages of a book, or you might be able to sit and have breakfast with the kids and enjoy that, whether that's your fur kids or whether it's your kids or whether it's your friends or your partner or your family, whoever it might be. And you might just enjoy having breakfast with them. You might even do a drive-by breakfast with, drive-through breakfast with the family before school. But you've got the school holidays at the moment, so you get to enjoy time with the kids, and there might be some sort of program that you have with that. But basically just work out what you do each day, what the day looks like. Do you take a break from the desk at work during the day, or do you just work straight through? Is it important to have a break at work? I think it is, and, step away from your desk and do that. And how do you spend your nights? I know some people might spend their nights with their family, or they might spend it with their pets, or they might spend it by themselves. And what does that look like to you? Is it something that you do want to, read a book, or you want to, I don't know whether sometimes we all get caught on scrolling through, whether it's social media or whether it's websites, or, work out whether that's important, and is it giving you something from doing that? Is it providing you, does it nurture you? Is it the best and highest use of your time and your energy? And I guess I would challenge that, because I know from my, scrolling on my phone, it doesn't really, you don't use it greatly when you're doing that. Whereas if you're studying something or you're reading something, or you found a YouTube video that's of great value and you listen to it for 20 minutes or half an hour and a half, it might be some sort of talk on a particular subject that you're really interested in and you're passionate about. And I support that. So that might be a different type of, watching something on your phone that you really enjoy. So do an audit. Number one, do an audit of where you're at, what you're spending your time on each day, and whether it's your best and highest use of that time. The second thing they talk about is to consider how to transfer the time-consuming activities that you're doing. So, say, for example, doomsday scrolling, looking on the, checking the news, or seeing, what's going on TikTok, or what's happening on Facebook, and then before you know it, 1 minute turns to 20 minutes, turns to 2 hours, and then, oh my goodness, the whole night's gone, and you've been on the lounge and you've been all consumed in that. You've missed out on the conversations that you could have had. You missed out on phoning a friend. You missed out on having that meaningful dinner with your partner or your family. Missed out on so many different things. And I'm not saying scrolling is not a good thing. It might be people's way of turning off, like switching off of a night time too. So that's absolutely fine. If that's you, go for it. But look at transferring those things that take the time that you may not want to do. So it might be cleaning the house. You're back from work, you've made dinner, you've got to clean everything up, you've got to do the washing, you've got to do the cooking for the week ahead. I'm not too sure what it might be, but you might be able to transfer some of those activities to be a shared activity throughout the family. So you might have family chores that you, or make it fun chores so that you're enjoying those things. Gamify it even, put it up. I mean, when we were kids, Mum and Dad always used to have something on the fridge or something similar, and you'd have like a little chart on there, and you'd say, okay, make your bed, and you'd get a star for making your bed each day, or, it wasn't pack the dishwasher, it was wash the dishes at that back then, because we didn't have a dishwasher. We eventually got a dishwasher later, but washing the dishes or wiping the dishes after dinner, that was an activity. Or I'm not too sure what that looks like for you, but you can gamify it, because at the end of the week, if you had so many stars, or if you did these activities on a regular basis, then you'd be rewarded. So whether it was 10 cents or 5 cents or 50 cents, or you might be able to get, to spend some time with the family to be able to go and do activities together, or you look forward to activities together. So it's always good to gamify these things and just work out what makes you happy and just sort of spend more time doing it. And that's the third thing. So the first thing is do the audit. Second thing is transfer the time-consuming activities to somebody else. So you may get a cleaner in, you may get somebody to help you in, you may get a work colleague to do admin for you at work that's probably not dollar productive activity that you're doing. And the third thing is fill your new time with the things that light you up. So for me, I love looking at houses. I love speaking to people like yourselves. I love working out where we're all at in the chapters in our lives together and how we can help one another get to the next chapter of our life, and the best possible way doing that. So I love kayaking. That's another activity that I love doing. I love taking the dogs for a walk. As simple as it sounds, but just this week I had a couple of things on my list that I said I was going to do and commit to, and that was taking the dogs for a walk and drinking more water. And I did. This week I walked the dogs more, and this week I drank more water. And it's just that little bit of progress each week that makes a difference to me, and I'm sure it may, or it may make a difference to you as well. So it doesn't need to be big things that you put on this list. It can be small activities, and I always talk about stacking the cool. Well, that's a Tom Ferry saying, actually. He's a real estate coach, but it's all about stacking the cool and making sure that those activities that you put together each week just help you get there by doing one extra thing that's going to help you to be where you want to be. Hey, Tony, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. I'm so proud of your daughter and a partner. They bought a house this week. It was great. They were really patient with the process. They listened to the activities that they needed to do to buy that house, and how to put the offer forward, and how to structure the offer and what to do. And so great job. Big shout out to you, Chloe and Brock. Congratulations on the purchase. If anybody needs a hand buying a house or looking at putting an offer in on property, don't hesitate to direct message me or reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. That's something that lights me up, and I love helping people do that. So what we're going to do is fill our time, our new time that we've created, by delegating those tasks that we don't want to do anymore, or those things that aren't serving us well, and fill your new time with things that light you up. So whether it's buying houses, whether it's showing people through properties to buy houses, or whether it's talking to people about different things that are going on in their lives, because sometimes our lives can be rather complex, and sometimes it just takes somebody else to look at that situation and break it down into the steps that are happening, take the emotion out of it, and then have action steps towards where you want to go. So you may be at point A and have no idea how to get to point B, but if you speak to somebody who's out of that situation and who has that independent experience of, okay, well, to get from A to B, you need to do X, Y, Z, and taking those steps and showing you how to take those steps and helping you become brave and confident and knowing that you're heading in the right direction. The fourth thing about buyback principle is that they're not constantly chasing money. And I would implore you not to chase money in life, because I know one thing for sure is if you look after people and treat people the way you want to be treated, the money will take care of itself. The money will come to you in tenfold. So the more, and what I found over the years, the more you chase money, the less it's like a butterfly. The more you chase a butterfly, it's not going to land on your shoulder. Whereas if you look at the butterfly from afar and you enjoy the time with the butterfly, it's more likely to land somewhere close to you, or you can just enjoy that moment. And the same thing with money, that talks about chasing money, and transfer that to constantly upgrading your purpose. And I think it's so important to have a purpose. Like when I was growing up, my mum and dad used to talk about lists, and I know I always refer to my mum and dad, but I love them dearly, and they've always been wise sage counsel for me, and I've always enjoyed the lessons that they've taught me over the years, and I believe that I put those lessons into practice and it's served me well. So I love sharing that with you as well, because I'm hoping that you glean something from that as we go along together on this journey. But my parents always used to write a list at the beginning of the week or the beginning of the day, and always, you might not necessarily tick everything off on the list, but if you don't have something to work towards, if you don't have something to focus on, if you don't have that directed, intentional focus on anything, you're going to end up exactly where you are, because you're not heading anywhere. I think I've spoken about before that captain, admiral of a Navy ship, he said, just get up, wake up, make your bed. Every day, just make your bed. And it might be as simple as making your bed that gives you purpose to get up and make the beautiful bed, the best bed that you can possibly make. And it may not be the best bed. It might be a pallet, or it might be a sleeping bag, or it might be, when I moved into my first house, I think I had a bean bag and a milk crate and a mattress on the floor. And that was where it all started. We all have to start somewhere, but if you have that purpose and you have that daily list of activities that you're going to work towards, removing the things that aren't serving you well, so the scrolling on your phone or watching the news that is all negativity, doing activities that you don't want to do, removing all of that and then moving towards something that tops up your cup. So it might be, doing more activities that light you up, doing more things that you get enjoyment out of, something that you're really passionate about, or activities that you love, or people that you love and you want to spend the time with. So with that list, it might be as simple as trimming the lawn, doing the edges, washing the car. I can remember every Saturday we used to get out there, we'd do the lawns and wash the cars, and that was in the days before there was car washers and people knew how to wash the mags and of their tyres and those sorts of things, and you get the Armour All out and, do the Armour All in the cars and, polish the cars even. I used to, get down on my hands and knees, and I had an old Sunbird that my grandfather had a Holden dealership, and he always used to make sure we had a really nice choice of vehicle to, and what to look for in a vehicle, and we really appreciated that, and I think of him often. But yeah, with my mum and dad, the list that they had every day, I think it serves you well. You wake up, you've got that list, and sometimes people not write it the night before. Sometimes I've done that as well. It depends on what you're doing, but the night before you might write 3 things. Tomorrow I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So those 3 things might be, I'm going to take the dogs for a walk tomorrow or the next day, whatever that might be. I'm going to drink, 1 or 2 glasses of water for that day. I'm going to have dinner with the family, or I'm going to have dinner with the kids. And in your mind, you're working towards those things. So as you go to bed, you've already switched on that reticular activating system that's in your brain, that as soon as you've written something down, you speak it out loud. It's basically you've written your order. You've written your order for what you want to achieve, and whether it's simple things that I've just mentioned, or whether it's working towards a project at work, or whether it's going to be taking the kids somewhere on holidays because you're in the school holidays now, or planning a little day trip with them, a little walk in the national park, or a little walk down to the Windsor Beach, or you might go to one of the local playgrounds where the Flying Fox is down at Government Park on the other side. You might have fish and chips at the boathouse with them. You might be going to their netball match. You might be going to their soccer match because you've got a bit more time with the school holidays, or you get a bit of time off from work because you've got the kids on leave. I'm not too sure what that is for you, but maybe write a little list and be really intentional about what those activities are that you're going to be doing. And then when we're intentional, we really achieve a lot of things that, you look back on the list, and you can have a diary or a journal of some sort for that year. And at the time you're thinking, what difference is a glass of water or a walk with the dog or dinner with the family? But over 12 months, if you're doing walking with the dogs and taking the water and going to have a nice meal with friends, family, whoever it might be, the dogs are going to have a greater relationship with you because they're going to be really healthy. They're going to love spending time with you. Your body's going to love the water going into your body. You're going to be hydrated. You're not going to be feeling, especially in this winter weather, it's cooler. The dehydration is real. So if you're topping up the energy, you're not going to be eating as much because, sometimes when you're hungry, you're not really hungry, you're just dehydrated. So that helps you with that. It tops up your body because you're pretty much 85% water in our system, and we need that hydration. And you can think clearer when you're hydrated. You can really think clearer, and there's so many benefits of drinking water. And then the third thing is, if you're having a meal with the family, it might only be once a week. It might be sandwiches, it might be a quick cuppa, it might be a cuppa on the run. You might go through drive-through together and grab a quick meal of something, or you might have a roast lamb. Mum said she's cooking a roast lamb this week, so I'm looking forward to that, Mum. Or the next week, I don't mind. I'm happy to bring sandwiches across if you'd like. But just having that relationship with those special people in your lives that, I don't know, it might be lunch at work. Like, I love having lunch with the girls at work and Dad at work because whether it's Chinese or something like that. But if over 12 months you have one meal with one person that's important to you in your life each and every week, might be having coffee with your mum on a Saturday morning. I'm not too sure what it is for you, but whatever that is, I know if you do that 52 times in a year, so once a week, even just once a week, even once a month, 12 times a year, but I sort of implore you to do it at least once a week, because those relationships that you have with those people will grow, they'll flourish, and people will love spending more time with you when they get to know you and know the beautiful person that you are. And I think time stands still for nobody. So if you've been meaning to drink some more water, or take the puppy dogs for a walk, or spend time with kids on the journey in their holidays. Topsy's just jumped down from the lounge that she's sitting on. She thinks we're going for a walk when I use that word. Sorry about that, Topsy. Tomorrow morning, maybe. Or whether it's spending time with your family and friends, I implore you to take that moment and stop doing the things that aren't serving you. Maybe say no to people more, because no is a sentence, as Jane Fonda said. And it's okay to say no, because if you're doing something out of obligation, it's certainly not something that you're passionate about or want to be part of. So I think you're better off saying no to those activities, and use your business or your time in a way that serves you and others well. Hey, Pete, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. Whatever that may be. So this week, I'm not too sure what you're focusing on, but I'm going to be cooking. My intention for the week will be cooking another dish. The recipe book, or the I don't know, it's going to, maybe, I'm not too sure. Pop in the comments below what you think would be a good name for a cookbook, because it's basically my mum's recipes, my grandparents' recipes, my great-grandmother's recipes, my colleagues' recipes, and I'm just sharing all these recipes that I've got permission to share, but it's just a bit of fun, all the things that I've been baking and learning how to bake over the last few weeks, and I'm going to put that out there. So yeah, pop in the comments below of a good name for a cookbook that is inspired by other people and what we might be able to put out. We might create something, a community cookbook together. And if you've got any recipes that you want me to try, I'd love to try that as well. Hey Chloe, how are you? Nice to have you on the line. Thanks for joining us. And big shout out to Pete. You had a big jam session with all of your mates and all of the he's a band member of the Jacks, a really good band if anybody wants to go and see a good rock band. But this week, yes, focus on your list, whatever that is. Maybe stop doing the things that aren't serving you well. Focus on the things that are going to be something that's going to light you up and you're going to be passionate about. Whether it's walking the dogs, whether it's drinking more water, whether it's spending time with family and friends, or the kids on holidays, whatever it is. If you want a good book to read and you need something, Buy Back Your Time is a positive book that I really enjoyed reading, and I'll probably reread again. But yeah, the things that I've learnt and I think unless you've got that some sort of progress in your life, to me, progress equals happiness. So as long as I'm learning, as long as I'm doing different things or leaning into things that I need to learn, and learning from people like yourself, because it's so important to share the knowledge. That's something else that Jane Fonda was talking about, is that as we get older, we share the knowledge that we have. And that's one of the reasons why I started the 2mm journey, because each and every week we get together. I get to spend time with the people that I really enjoy spending time with. We get to share ideas. I get to hear about your lives and what you're doing. And then together we can stack the cool together and we can improve our lives by 2mm each and every week. And it tops my cup up, and I hope it tops your cup up too. But if there's anything that you think that you'd like me to talk about, or if there's other things that you'd like to discuss during the weeks, or, you know, pop in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And also pop in the comments below what your intentional focus is going to be this week. What are you going to spend your time on, or what are you going to do less of, and what are you going to do more of? And as I say, it might be a simple thing as changing the way you're eating. It might be as simple as cutting out junk food, or it might be saying, I'm not going to eat junk food 7 days a week. I'm only going to eat junk food 3 days a week. I don't know what that looks like for you, but make it so easy that you can't fail. Make it so that you literally have one thing, one focus for the whole week. And whether it's making your bed in the morning, spending time with the kids, I don't mind what it is, but that one thing that you put in the comments below might be something that inspires somebody else to achieve that they couldn't or didn't think that was possible. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up tonight, but I really appreciate your time and spending the time together to learn. And I was listening to the Schumann's Resonance 7.83 hertz, if anybody wants to chime into that. And I might put up a little photo of the potato bake that I made, and what is or part of what I made this week, just for a bit of fun. All right. And also, Kylie, you're a big shout out to you, Kylie, on the line. You are a magic cook, and maybe some recipes from your family or what you've done as well. And each and every one of you, if you've got any recipes that you want to share, I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to cook it over the coming weeks. And I'll pop some photos up on the lives when we go live each week. All right, well, take care of yourselves and each other. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and go out, do more of what you want to do more of what's going to light you up, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about your journey, and I'll share that with you next week. Take care. Bye for now.